immediately after creating the human being in his own image and likeness, God assigned him to order the universe to his own needs, till the world, cultivate it, name the trees, name the animals, according to your own needs. Make use of the ones you need. Of course, we know of the exception. But it is in that commission, in that order, to intervene on the created universe, it is there that the human being exercises primarily his resemblance of God. He's being created in the image and likeness of God. Because that is exercise of creative authority. Man recreates, so to speak, what God has created. That is why, at the time Adam noticed that he was naked and Eve was naked, they made use of the tree that was nearby, or trees, and gathered leaves and covered themselves. First intervention. And Adam and Eve started that until we arrive at we have arrived at all our dressing patterns now. Everything we are wearing now was started by that attempt of Adam and Eve to use materials in nature to cover their nakedness. That time, their need was to hide their shame. Each time you dress up, ask yourself, what need is that dress serving? Because sometimes we dress up to cover up, at other times we dress up to show. Ask yourself, because that is the freedom the human being has in intervening in nature. That's also what happens with plucking the fruits from the garden to eat. Until it was not just plucking fruits to eat, but putting them together or even applying heat to change their chemical composition. All that is part of human intervention on nature. And collectively, what the human being learns or has achieved in that process, he shares with others. That is what we call culture. There is nothing static about culture. There is nothing predetermined about culture except the challenges facing the human being at that given time. That is why when the needs of the human being change, his responses to those needs will change, and the cultural product will also change. It is important to underline this, because some people have tended to believe that culture is backward looking. Culture means going back to the past and collecting what other people did in the past and repeating them. There is a story I tell often when people talk about that's the way our ancestors did it. Your ancestors had a particular problem they were solving. You no longer have that problem. So why are you repeating what they did? A little girl watched the mother cooking, this is a European example, ham, a piece of meat, long. And the mother would always cut off the two ends of the piece of meat before cooking it. This little girl, in curiosity, out of curiosity, asked the mother, "Mom, why are you doing that?" The mother answered, "I have always seen my mother do it." Luckily, her grandmother was alive. The next time she visited the grandmother, she asked the grandmother, "Grandma, I always see my mom cut the two ends of ham before cooking it. And she said she learned it from you. Why do you do it?" And she answered, "I always saw my own mother do it." Luckily again, the great-grandmother was still alive. She continued her inquiry and asked the great-grandmother, "Great-grandma, why do you cut your ham? Grandma and Mom said they learned it from you." The old woman, with her walking stick, went to her kitchen, brought out her pot, and showed the little girl. He said, "My daughter, in our own time, the pots were small, and the ham could not enter the pot, so I had to reduce the size for it to enter. Meanwhile, the pots have grown wider, bigger, and the future generations kept cutting off pieces of their meat because their great-great-great-grandma did it." You laugh. And that shows you how stupid many of us are when we say we are going back to our ancestors to do what they did. Now, whatever any human being has discovered and made public becomes patrimony of the entire human race. The only way you can own your knowledge personally is either not sharing it and it will be wasted, or if you are tactful enough, you acquire a patent on it. You acquire something that gives you some money as the person who invented this. But otherwise, once other people know it, they can also repeat what you did. And it is not limited to age or times in history, so it can be repeated. Therefore, there is nothing intrinsically wrong in using past experiences of others or past solutions the people apply, if and only if those experiences and solutions are useful to us. Otherwise, there is a basic question to ask. What values we are they preserving or seeking? I want to underline that in every culture, the most important thing to look at are the values, the most important things. And value is that worth of a thing that makes it desirable, or a thing that has that type of worth. There are many values, but they are not all equal. They are classified. There is a hierarchy. Some values are more important than others, but the most important value is human life. And every value has to be judged according to how much that value is at the service of life. So, if we ask what our ancestors did, if we appreciate or love what they did, we have to also ask what values we are seeking to preserve. And if we repeat those actions, do we still preserve those values